Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into some really fascinating source material that takes us right into the heart of Delhi. Specifically, we're looking at the life of the daily wage worker, the Mazdoor.
Yeah, and our goal really is to try and understand this Mazdoor ki Zindagi, the laborer's life. We're focusing on two kind of driving forces that come up again and again in the material.
Right, the search for azadi, that's freedom, and the absolute unavoidable need for kamai, which is, earning a living.
And the material really gives us this amazing window through the experiences of one particular man, Muhammad Ashraf. He's described as a master house cleaner, a safety karigar.
And he sounds like quite a character, not just a worker, but as you said, almost a philosopher, traveler,
Yeah,
complex.
definitely. And when we first encounter him in the sources, he's pretty resistant to being interviewed, isn't he? He sort of sidesteps direct questions about, say, government policy.
Yeah, instead he offers these kind of philosophical nuggets, almost like riddles. Things like, if you sleep without washing your feet, you get nightmares.
Exactly. And at first you might think he's just being evasive, giving these bombastic quotes, as the source puts it. But
Okay, do
actually,
you mean something deeper?
I think so. It's his worldview, distilled. It immediately brings up that core tension we mentioned, this ideal of freedom, azadi specifically, freedom from a boss, a malik, versus the hard reality of needing to earn the kamai.
So the quotes aren't really evasions. They're his way of saying, look, my inner life, my philosophy, that's what matters more than your questions about some health bill.
Precisely. It's about balancing that internal need for dignity and freedom with the external pressure of survival.
Okay, so we have this core intention, Azadi versus Kamai. And the stage for this drama, it's Sadar Bazaar in Delhi.
Right. And Sadar Bazaar isn't just any market. You have to picture this place. It's one of Delhi's oldest, goes back centuries, way before the British Raj. It started as a huge grain market.
And it's not the Delhi you see on postcards.
Not at all. The source calls it a place for goods, shorn of glamour. Think wholesale plastics, raw cotton, metal parts. It's the city's engine room. Or at least it was even more intensely so before recent regulations, kind of a city within a city. Factories, storage, housing, all jumbled together.
And right in the middle of Sadar Bazaar, the absolute nerve center for the laborers, is a place called Bara Tooti Chowk.
Bara Tooti Chowk. Yeah, the name literally means crossing of 12 taps.
But the taps are long gone,
Oh
apparently.
yeah, totally gone. The running joke, according to the sources, is that they must have been put in by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi.
Which explains why they disappeared so quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that chalk, that crossing, it functions as this massive labor mandi, a labor market.
Yeah.
Every morning, hundreds, maybe thousands of daily wage workers gather there, looking for work, living their lives right there on the street.
It's more than just a place to find a job, though. It's got its own social structure, like Kaka's tea shop.
Ah, kakas. It's described so vividly, not really a building, more like the fossilized remains of a preacher.
Built on this tiny concrete shelf sticking out from a building.
Yeah, and the shelf itself is apparently part of some ongoing legal dispute between a local jeweler and the temple management. It's precarious, symbolizes the whole scene, really. Yet, it's the heart of the morning ritual.
And Kakaka, the owner, this flabby 40-year-old, serves his morning special tea.
Right. And when asked what makes it special, he gives this incredibly practical, almost crude answer. He says it helps build pressure.
Because a man doesn't truly wake up till he shits. Wow.
It's blunt, isn't it? But it captures something essential about the Mazdoor ki Zindagi. Life is about immediate function, efficiency, no time for slow reflection. You need to be physically ready for hard labor now.
The tea is just a tool, fuel for the body machine.
Exactly. And the labor market itself is just as structured, just as efficient. You have these distinct lines of work, basically dividing skill from sheer strength.
Okay, so what are the lines?
You got the Karigari lines. These are the skilled trades. Plumbing, carpentry, painting. Stuff that needs an apprenticeship, learning under an ustad, a master.
These are the specialists.
Right. Then you have the Mazdoori lines. General labor, rickshaw pullers, porters, the paladars who carry incredible loads. These jobs need honesty, speed, endurance. But it's primarily about strength.
And the construction industry provides a really clear picture of this hierarchy, the construction triangle, the source calls it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. At the top, you have the mystery, the expert. He's not just carrying bricks. His skill is knowing the exact mix for concrete, the right ratio of cement, sand, water. It changed with the weather, cost of materials, the job itself.
That expertise gets him the top rate, around 250 rupees a day back then.
Below him is the Beldar, He's the understudy, the one actually mixing the mortar, doing the heavy lifting, learning the trade. He's on his way up.
And at the bottom.
The ordinary Mazdoor, carrying materials, digging, demolition, pure physical labor. And their pay, especially when work is scarce, could drop really low, maybe 80 to 150 rupees a day. It's tough.
So where does Ashraf fit in? He's a painter, a Karagar, but what about his physique?
That's what's interesting. Physically, he's described as being built like a Mazdoor. Short, stable, muscular chest, perfect for lifting, for being grounded.
But he insists on the painter identity.
Fiercely. He identifies as a safety Karagar. He's choosing skill over strength, resisting being categorized just by his body type.
And he has that great explanation for it too, doesn't he? About short men versus tall men on scaffolding.
Yeah. He argues a tall guy might overreach, lose balance, but a short, stable man like him, he carries the memory of the ground, knows his limits, doesn't topple.
He turns a physical trait into a professional advantage. It's about self-respect, isn't it?
Deeply. It's all about dignity. And that takes us right into his core philosophy, this whole calculus of Azadi and Kamai.
Right. He talks about the ideal job being like a complex mathematical function.
Yeah.
He's always weighing the pay, the kamai, against the freedom, the azadi.
And the Kamai has to be there. If there's no pay, he says, it's not work. It's a hobby, maybe charity. The economic need is the baseline.
But here's the crucial part. Why do they value azadi so much that they often reject stable, permanent jobs? That seems counterintuitive.
It does, until you understand the trap. The permanent job, the monthly salary, say, 6,000 rupees, which sounds great compared to 150 a day, often comes with a hidden cost. Contractors, the Maliks, they know how to play this game.
The source mentions a contractor, Chadur Magarwal, as an example of how this works.
Exactly. So it's kind of economic coercion. The contractor pays the full daily wage for the first few days, builds up trust. Then the payments start getting smaller, delayed.
So by the end of the month, the worker is owed a significant amount of back pay.
Thousands of rupees, potentially. And at that point, the worker is stuck. They can't leave, even if the conditions are awful, because walking away means losing all that money they're owed.
They lose both kamai and azadi. They become, in their own words, a gulam, a slave, or a kachar, a mule.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Their freedom is basically mortgaged against the wages they've already earned but haven't received. It's a debt trap.
Which makes the dahadi, the daily wage, so incredibly important.
Non-negotiable for someone like Ashraf. His rule is simple, brutal, but protective. He stops paying, you stop working.
No entanglement, no debt holding you hostage. The transaction ends, you walk away free.
Even if the daily wage is small, you keep your self-respect, your mobility, your azadi.
Okay, let's shift from money to knowledge. Ashraf takes pride in being literate, even though he dropped out of college. He even mocks illiteracy, inventing that universal degree for the Mazdoors, LLPP.
LLPP. It's brilliant. It stands for like Lodapad Pathar.
Which translates to, right penis read stone. Pretty crude.
Deliberately crude. But it's an act of defiance, you see, against the educated elite who judge them. Ashraf tells them to say it loud because the outsiders won't get it. It turns their lack of formal schooling into this kind of secret shared badge of honor.
It speaks to the ingenuity needed to survive, like that story about his friend Raja, the double BA.
Oh, that's a classic. Raja, his old friend from Calcutta, needed to impress an employer. So when asked his qualifications, he says double BA.
But BA doesn't mean Bachelor of Arts here.
Nope. In Bengali, Bai means marriage. Raja was twice married double Bai. He used his wit, his knowledge of local language, to navigate a system that wasn't built for him. It's street smarts as a form of capital.
This philosophical divide even shows up in how people work at the Chowk. You have the frogs and the lefunters.
Right, the Barsati Mendaks, the rain frogs. These are the seasonal guys, mostly from nearby states, UP, Haryana. They often have a bit of land back home.
So they come to Delhi with a specific goal.
Exactly. They arrive after the harvest, maybe January, work like crazy until the monsoon or the next planting season in July.
Yeah.
They live super frugally, sleep rough, eat cheap, save every single rupee.
To take back a lump sum to the family, the farm, they have a deadline, a destination.
They're driven by that external goal. But then you have Ashraf and his friend Lalu, who are self-proclaimed lefunters.
Lefunter, what does that mean roughly? A loafer? A wastrel?
Something like that. A restless soul. They're the old-timers at the Chowk. They don't have a farm to go back to, no family waiting for remittances, no big savings plan.
So their work ethic is different.
Completely. It's driven by immediate need or desire, not long-term goals. They work intensely for maybe a week, make 1,000 rupees or so.
And then?
And then they spend the next week drinking it all away until hunger forces them back to the mandi to start the cycle again.
It sounds self-destructive, but in a weird way. Is that the ultimate expression of their azadi, rejecting the constant grind for money?
I think that's exactly how they see it. It's choosing leisure, even oblivion, over the relentless accumulation that traps the frogs. It's a destructive freedom, maybe, but it's their choice.
Which brings us to the next layer, the shadow economy and the sort of constant anxiety that hangs over this life.
Yeah, while the laborers are navigating their own codes, the city itself is often chaotic, even falling apart, which creates, well, opportunities for the observant, like Kalyani.
Ah, yes, the woman who built 2 successful businesses out of basically nothing, just by watching the workers and seeing the flaws in the system.
Her first one, the Danana, or grain business. She noticed that when trucks unloaded grain sacks in Naya Bazaar, they'd tear. Grain, dust, grit would scatter all over the go-down floors.
And she just swept it up.
Initially, yes, it was painstaking. Apparently, sifting one sack of this mix took 3 days, but it yielded about 3 kilos of clean rice she could sell.
Wow. So she turned waste into profit.
And then she scaled it. Started paying the go-down owners a flat fee for the right to sweep, hired other women to do the sifting. Pure ingenuity.
And her second business, the daru, the liquor.
This one exploited a specific Delhi excise law. See, there were different licenses. L2 for English or Western liquor, and L10 for the local stuff, Desi Sharab.
Okay.
The L2 shops opened at noon, but the L10 shops, the cheaper ones the laborers preferred, were legally mandated to open only at 5 p.m.
Why the gap?
Probably policy trying to discourage daytime drinking among the working class, make them wait, or force them to buy the expensive stuff if they wanted to drink earlier.
So Kalyani saw that 5-hour gap.
As a business opportunity. She set up an illegal off-hours vend selling the Desi Sharab between noon and 5 p.m. Slightly higher price than the legal shops, but way cheaper than the L2 stuff.
And it wasn't just about selling booze, right?
No, she created a space, a little hut made of cardboard and tarpaulin. It became effectively Bara Tooti's first unofficial bar, a place for the Mazdors to gather, drink, escape the police hassle for a bit.
Incredible entrepreneurial spirit, really. But while these microeconomies were popping up, the official city was doing the opposite, tearing things down. The Tod Fod.
Ah, the demolition drives. Yeah, that was a huge disruption starting mid-2000s, often justified for beautification, sometimes linked to big events like the Commonwealth Games.
And it caused massive displacement. The source says something like 350,000 houses were leveled.
That's the figure mentioned. And Ashraf points out, rightly or wrongly, that settlements like Sanjay Amar Colony, which was largely Muslim, seemed to be targeted, maybe because they were seen as opposition voters.
Yeah.
It fed this feeling of vulnerability.
And the economic impact, especially for painters like Ashraf.
Devastating. If houses are being torn down, nobody's hiring painters. Construction work just dried up. People were afraid any new paint, any improvement would just flag their home for the next demolition round.
So what did Ashraf and the others do?
According to the source, they just went on long, despairing drinking binges. What else could they do? Wait for the fear to pass.
This climate of fear, displacement, uncertainty, it sounds like fertile ground for paranoia and worse.
Absolutely. And some of the fears were horribly real, like the kidney racket.
That wasn't just a rumor.
No, tragically, it was factual. Ashraf warned about these pimps hanging around the chowks. They'd approach laborers, promise good work under some fake health scheme,
And
lure them away, force surgery, remove a kidney, pay them a pittance, and dump them back on the street. The source confirms cases like Nasir, Salim, Shakil. It's horrific. Your own body wasn't safe.
And alongside that real horror, you had the completely fantastical stuff, like the monkey man hysteria in 2001.
Right. This creature, descriptions were all over the map. 4 feet tall, 8 feet tall, lasers for eyes, wore a black belt, could fly. Completely bizarre.
But there was a sociological explanation. Dr. Desai.
Yes, Dr. Nimesh Desai studied the victims. He noticed the scratches were mostly on the outer part of their forearms, the dorsal aspect.
Which is hard for someone else to inflict.
But consistent with self-inflicted wounds. His theory was mass hysteria. These people were under immense stress poverty, constant threat of eviction, sleep deprivation. They developed histrionic personas, and their internal anxiety manifested as these physical attacks, possibly happening in their sleep.
The monkey man was a projection of their collective fear.
Essentially, yes, an embodiment of the city's anxiety.
And spreading these stories, amplifying the fear, was this character J.P. Singh Pagal. Pagal meaning madman.
Yeah, this short, hyperactive guy, he was like the human tabloid of the chalk. He'd take rumors, old ones like Shah Jahan cutting off the Taj Mahal workers' hands, new ones like constant surveillance camera monitoring, and just spread them like wildfire.
Reinforcing the sense that everything could be taken away, that they were always being watched.
Exactly, fueling the paranoia.
Let's move into the human cost of all this transience and freedom. Section 4. The solitude, the Akilpan.
It's the dark side of Azadi. The laborer's life is defined by movement. Look at Ashraf's history before Delhi. Selling lemons in Patna, butcher in Bombay, tailor, electrician's apprentice, Hyderabad, Calcutta, Punjab. Constant motion.
And they abandon lives so easily. That story about Muna.
Right. He misplaced a relative's bicycle before Holi. Instead of facing the shame, the debt, he just vanished. Hopped a bus, worked elsewhere for 10 years. Just like that.
And for Ashraf, that need for Azadi, for the freedom to just walk away, was really cemented by that incident in Bombay, wasn't it? When he was a butcher.
A brilliant Kasai, he called himself. And he wasn't just skilled at cutting, he was skilled at, well, cheating.
The chicken plumping technique, you have to explain that.
Okay, get this. He learned to make tiny cuts near the chicken legs and then pump warm water into the flesh. It increased the weight, obviously, but it also apparently made the meat look pinker, firmer, healthier to the customers. It's skilled deception, born out of necessity.
But then one busy Sunday, he was late after drinking, and his boss, Qureshi,
Didn't yell, didn't fire him, just slapped him. A single chanta.
at Ashraf.
Walked out immediately. Left the job, left the city. That slap crossed the line. It reinforced his core belief. The Malik owns my work. He doesn't own me. His dignity, his azadi, was worth more than the job.
And this transactional nature extends even to friendships. He talks about medium-type friends, like Lalu.
Yeah, he contrasts him with a jigriyar, a really close heart friend. A medium-type friendship is, well, it's contractual. You help each other out, lend money, expect it back. It's clear, upfront.
A Dahadi friendship.
Exactly. No messy expectations of family or deep history. He preferred it that way. He said nobody makes a fool of anyone else.
But this lack of deep roots, this anonymity, it leads to that tragic fate of being lawaris, forsaken, dying alone.
It's the ultimate price of that freedom.
Yeah.
The solitude, the Akelapan, is crushing. We see it with Satish, the young painter Ashraf was fond of like a brother.
He got sick.
MDR-TB, multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis, really serious. And because he was living on the pavement, no family in Delhi, when he died in the hospital, he was officially registered as Laurizis, without kin.
And the source notes the irony of where he was cremated.
Yeah, the electric crematorium at Rajghat, same place Rajiv Gandhi's rites were performed. Ashraf, with his dark humor, joked that being Lawaris gave Satish a straight path to heaven.
But the detail that really hit the other laborers,
Yeah.
it wasn't the famous cremation site.
No. It was that the host's sister had bought Satish clean underwear while he was in the hospital because he hadn't been bathed or changed in a month. That small act of basic human kindness in a life of transactions was what resonated.
Then there's Lalu, the medium-type friend. He also died anonymously.
Yeah, probably hit by a vehicle. His body turned up in the morgue later. The police initially mistook him for a beggar or madman, partly because he had an old scar from a steel rod put in his leg after a previous accident. In death, the city just erased his identity as a worker.
And Rihan, the really strong paladar.
Huge guy, incredibly fit, working so hard, saving up Punji capital, hoping to start a small goat or pig business back home.
But he died young.
Slipped off a ladder. The source says his body was just shattered. His strength, his fitness meant nothing against the sheer precarity of the work. It's just brutal.
So Ashraf loses Satish, Lalu, Rihan. He's the last one left of his circle. And he makes one more attempt to change things.
One last big move. He leaves Delhi, goes back to Calcutta. He hopes to team up with his old friend Raja, the double BA guy, and restart a floor polishing business they used to do. He's seeking stability, maybe recreating the past.
But Raja has moved on.
Completely. Raja's now a successful businessman. Fat, respectable. The meeting is cold. Raja tells him the polishing business is dead, sets him up in this expensive, isolated rental far from the city center. Ashraf is stranded, loses his Delhi confidence, his swagger.
And predictably,
He starts drinking heavily again, and then his health crashes. He gets diagnosed with the same thing that killed Satish, MDR-TB.
but even then, he tries to assert some control.
Yeah. The treatment is horrific: jaundice, temporary deafness, constant nausea, lethal drugs, really. But Ashraf insists on finishing the entire course. He tells the source, I must complete at least one course of one thing in my life.
Wow. A refusal to fail, even at the bitter end.
He realizes he's totally alone now. He starts dreaming aloud about maybe starting a small vegetable stall, maybe even getting married. I still get offers, he claims, just so someone might visit him if he got sick again. The Azadi led straight to this profound Akelapan.
And the cycle just keeps repeating. He gets out of the hospital.
Collects a loan from the person who wrote the source material.
And vanishes. Again.
Yep. Last contact was a brief call to a friend, saying he was waiting somewhere in the rain. Then, nothing. He chose to be unfindable once more.
That's the ultimate risk, isn't it? Not just violence or poverty, but disappearing completely. Like Satish, the phone number for his village still existed, but the family was gone. Utterly loquacious.
Disconnected. Erased by the city's churn.
It really highlights the Gulfen experience. I think about getting mugged myself in Calcutta around that time. For me, it was a crisis, sure, but I called my mother. 6,000 rupees wired instantly. Problem solved with privilege.
And the source asks Ashraf exactly that. What would a Mazdor do in that situation? With no phone, no family lifeline, his answer was blunt.
Basically, you would beg for help, wouldn't you? Just like the rest of us.
That's the difference. Instant solution via capital versus immediate descent into begging for survival.
So Ashraf, by taking that loan and running, he chose flight over facing that potential humiliation. Starting over, yet again.
It seems so. Which leaves us with this final thought, this provocative question from the material. In this city full of gamblers, Bazigars from Kalyani, building her businesses, to Ashraf, constantly rolling the dice, what constitutes success?
Is it accumulating wealth and stability like Raja did?
Or is it Ashraf's path, the perpetual motion, the constant restarting, the ability to remain a stranger, an ajnabi, even if it means ending up alone and untraceable? Is that the ultimate, if devastating, form of azadi?